Livestock have their own ways of communicating. Livestock.
This building's so large. Don't worry.
Marnie is great. Would you like to participate in Marnie's experiment? Support the glory of Marnie. Marnie is great. Would you like to participate in Marnie's experiment? Support the glory of Marnie.
And before you even... Hey! See these dark circles under my eyes?
I'm sorry. We grew every fruit and vegetable here ourselves. I'm sorry. My husband has a habit of nattering away.
So smart. And so beautiful. So smart. Oh, Rosalind. Your face still torments my dreams. Oh, quick! So smart.
Some of these are dangerous. Oak pills are sometimes used as medicine, and sometimes as poison. Oak pills are sometimes... We grew every fruit and vegetable here ourselves. I'm sorry.
Tell him I love shiny accessories like earrings and necklaces.
Vagabondy likes me?
Do you know the dear
Vagabondy likes me?
But now I must hurry. Even if it's terrifying, you can sense that.
So smart. Oh, Rosalind. Your face still torments my...
Now, why don't we get some tea while we wait for Pippet to return?
Keep your voice down. Germina also knows much about...
What's that pattern on your skin? If it's a curse, I can take a look at it for you. Those clothes. You've worn them ragged. Ever thought about a new look? Clothes make it the man, as they say.
That staff. What is it?
It belonged to Bahit Lalakona, the Bahitram that first led us to the light of the Holy Flame. It was the first thing given to him by the Okjinshani when he arrived at the mountain. Legend tells that it will light up when the Yeenix returns to the mountain.
It is shining, but the light is so dark.
None of us have actually seen the fire for ourselves. Only he has. So, I see you've come to the mountain to erase that pattern that brands you.
My goodness! Ilichi, you have the ability to gaze into people's souls? I never knew.
As brilliant cities and temples collapse, and Orzeka's power dissipates, a leader among them left the cursed, forgotten, ancient kingdom behind. With a crown made from unknown bones, he calls himself Belmorn, descendant of the kingdom of Orzeka, and names this land the Hexe Kingdom.
The very same words that constantly go through my mind. How much do you know about the Orzeka records? I want to know more about the Yeenix.
If you want to know, see for yourself. All the records here were recorded by Bahit Lalakona. Germina also knows if you're going to Aelton.
Those clothes.
Excerpt from the 10,119th Wish. O great Lord Kazarka, this traveler from the Mountain of Eternal Winter comes seeking salvation. His name is Silverfrond. Will you honor him his request? The chief priest asked. Kazarka replied, Speak your wish, Silverfrond. So he did. I am cursed for loving a witch, since such love was forbidden. I know my beloved cannot be brought back to life, so I ask only that you remove the curse placed upon me by her 6 sisters.
I will grant you your wish,
Kazarka replied.
but you must bring me the Yeenix, the Holy Flame. Nestled in the heart of the dragon that dwells in the Mountain of Eternal Winter, I will use the flame to rid you of your curse.
Excerpt from the 13,000th Wish.
O great Lord Kazarka, the traveler from the Mountain of Eternal Winter returns.
When he heard the chief priest say this, Kazarka bade Silverfrond forward.
Silverfrond, show me the Yeenix.
End of the 13,000th Wish excerpt.
But Silverfrond was not alone when he came bearing the Yeenix. for with him were those known as the Knights of Dawn. Orzeka fell soon after, and with its fall, Bahit Lalakona had a revelation. From that day forth, he and his people turned their worship to the holy flame that had consumed Kazarka instead.
Once the turmoil that arose from Kazarka's fall had settled, I made for the Mountain of Eternal Winter to seek the holy flame. But the flame was not there. Silverfrond, the Knights of Dawn, neither had returned to the mountain. The Mountain of Eternal Winter was without the Yenix. The golden dragon that once embraced the Yenix was losing her sanity. Something was gnawing at her from within. But when her tears fell and met the snow, new life suddenly bloomed like a wave of violets swaying in the wind. I named them the Oak Jinshini. The golden dragon then toppled over. And from her wounded flesh sprung more life. These I named the Abets. Finally, from her well-guarded embrace came forth those covered in dragon blood. They would come to be known as the Guardians. I then heard woeful cries coming from the foot of the mountain. The 6 witches had passed. In their wake emerged mutants, humans who had absorbed the essence of the witches and now wrought destruction upon their village. Thus was the second death of the golden dragon Labreska, a death that would cause a cataclysm of chaos to befall the Mountain of Eternal Winter.
Super fascinating stuff, right? I keep trying to read it myself, but it's quite a slog. I guess you're more determined than you look.
When will Pippet return? He's your only assistant, is he not?
We can always make room for more assistants. Why? Do you want to be my assistant? Oh my! This was a gift from Chief Hoonvish to Chief Floki. The soft, cushy Sintamani! My hunch was right. Chief Floki is living inside the cave.
The path ahead of us won't be easy. If we intend to weaken the wall enough to break through, then we will need to take down many more Oak Jinshini. Let's go.
No, I need you to stay here. The soft, cushy Sintamani might have a hidden code on it.
Does your tongue speak the truth? If this is some manner of deception.
Only one way to know for certain. Plus, it'll give us time to get to know each other better.
Listen carefully. We three are all that remain of the Jade Starlight Forest's history. Beyond lovely evenings spent with loved ones, where starlight and moonlight riding the cloud's end.
Enough, that is.
As the dark sky fades to bring in the new dawn,
Heard you we have.
our sincere duty is to protect the winter.
Surround you, the swaying pansies do.
Oh, who are you?
After escaping from that woman's clutches, we had no trouble making it through these woods.
Aha! And who are you?
Chief, we sent them the request for aid. Through Pit-Pit, remember?
And yet, what is this sound? It's the star of the Winterland! It's melting! Are you here to save us? To clear the witch's trial?
As you can see, the last remaining Oginshini we three are. We the oldest lived Oginshini.
It could not have been an easy journey, but I'm glad you're here. Despite his apparent immaturity.
What took you so long? Have you any idea of the number of signs we sent your way? To once again see the world, and the heavy drinks Hunvish would mix for us. My friend, let us count the sheep among the starlit skies!
This is your chief?
Embarrassed I am. But yes, this is he.
Let's get right to the point. We are here for two reasons. First, to solve the fourth trial of the witches. Second, to find the missing Khan.
What about us? You're not here to rescue us?
Your kind never dies, or so I hear. You only need to be reborn by the flame of origin, no?
No, you're wrong. We can't die, not now, not ever.
Chief, stop screaming, you must. Help us, they must. Certain of it, I am.
Ooh, Ivar! I mean, Ord. Have you finally thought up something good? I don't remember the last time you did. Ooh, Ivar! I mean, Ord. Ooh, Ivar! I mean, Ord. Ooh, Ivar! I mean, Ord. Ooh, Ivar! I mean...
Always full of ideas, I am. Opening the heavens where life and death ebb and flow. Only by us who handle the flame of origin, a chief can it be. Melt away soon, the star of the Winterland shall. So, choose you must.
No need to tread the difficult path from the start. Speak. Tell us how we can be of aid, why you cannot die, and what led you to seal yourselves in here.
Finally, the time has come! I've been dying to tell you.
Chief, if I may, time is of the essence. Let us depart from here. We can accept their aid later, when we've had time to speak at length.
But you wouldn't happen to have brought any libations with you. These things are better told over a stiff drink or two. This is the cave gifted unto us by the humans who previously made their home here, where Lesha, the Witch of Fever, taught them the ways of draining the dragon's vigor. I still remember. Oh, Jinchini, born from the dragon's heart-rending tears. Oh, this land now belongs to you. And so I asked,
Your scorching heat was what drove off the winter's cold. Where are you off to now?
I thought he was going to speak of himself.
Not once died our chief has. Not once. Remembers all he does.
The flame of origin is maintained by the ebb and flow of death and life itself. We deliberately give our lives for the sake of this cycle.
And yet, abstain from the sacrifice our chief has. Selfish he is.
What? You ungrateful mongrels! Selfish? Me? I have stayed alive to preserve our memories for times such as these. That's why.
Chief, too loud you are. Continue with your story, I plead.
I'm listening.
Anywho, they spoke these words.
The witches are dead! It's now time to protect ourselves from the dragons! All the tribes are gathering at the Forbidden Black Mountain to answer the call of the Great Founder!
That's all. They left like that, and we gained this cave!
And the witch's trial?
Chief, germane to the topic you aren't. Help I shall. Taught the humans wisdom, Lesha, the Witch of Fever, did. Melted her own face right in this place, she did. And yet, from within the heavens of life's ebb and flow, the eyes, nose, and lips to Lesha's face a shaman restored. As the fingers of the heavens, these four pillars are now known, when on the fingers of heaven, eyes, nose, and lips placed properly are. Brightly shine its radiance will. Once Lesha's face is restored, so too the lost face of the star of the Winterland shall be.
I shall now open the heavens where life and death ebb and flow. I shall now open the heavens where
The star of the Winterland seeks the face that it lost, where life and death cycles in the heavens. Without that bumbling fox, we completed our task in record time. As promised, let's listen to what they have to say.
Thank you. You're more reliable than you look. It's now time for the deep talks.
No need for depth of story here. Simply stick to the main points.
Well, my eloquence was sure to dazzle you, but this wet blanket had to ruin it. I'm fine. Let's settle down a bit. This is both our story and the story of their Khan. The reason we barricaded ourselves here is solely due to the crazed tribes outside these walls.
You do know what the Zavir Highlands mean to us, yes? Then why did you destroy our totem?
It wasn't us! It wasn't us, I tell you!
Then who are those, O Jinchini?
Today was supposed to be a festive day.
Right. Today was the day the seal of the stone tablet left by the seventh witch was to be broken. However, we must first settle this matter before we can bind the tablets. Returning to Ailton hand in hand at this point could result in our deaths, so I've come in their place. What truly has occurred here?
Are you actually okay? We found these in our woods.
These? Aren't these the oak pills we used to enjoy together?
Members of my tribe who ate these passed away. They were poisoned from eating these very oak pills.
I can't believe my ears. Poison? We, for one, do not have the skills to craft a potent enough poison.
It appears that the fox rule wanes, and the deer rule is nigh. Aren't you going to pass the seat of Khan to your own son? Maybe the antlered ones had some unfinished business with you.
No, that cannot be. No Ubets would do such a thing. We long to become a bridge for the world. Whoever inherits the seat of the Khan would never commit such an atrocity.
do know that if any of us loses our life, our souls ride the origin flame as our flesh is born anew. And yet those of us who ate this very oak pill and were rekindled came back changed, attacking fellow members of our tribe. No longer would they sing with us, "Oh, Labresta, return, return!" That was where I tasted true despair. One became 10, which quickly became 100. They are the ones who toppled your totems in the highlands.
No, that cannot be. Not us abets.
What are you doing?
I shall prove it to you myself. For the sake of all of the abets who have been framed, we do not betray our friends. That is the way of the Highlands. Look, of one thing I'm certain. This oak pill is not poisoned.
No. Khan was returned to the Highlands while attempting to prove the Abet's innocence, while only us three remain of our tribe, torn apart by our greed. While we wish to part the heavens to find his resting star, whatever the reason may be, our friend chose to cut his own breath short. For those who so easily give up their precious lives, we have no such merciful stars here. That is his final resting place.
The village ruins. That too was the works of your tribe turned monsters.
Do the Abets believe we were the ones who brought the village to ruin?
They believe that you were the ones who planted the dread winter tree.
Are you serious? They're not of their own minds. Ah! We are blighted as well. How could the Abets have such little faith in us?
Chief, isn't it obvious? Even if the poisoned pill consumed their soul, their shells remain Okjinshini clear as day. Anyone else would think the same. Let's stick to the facts here.
Know the facts we do. Continue the unfinished story we shall.
After the Khan needlessly passed, I came to realize that this all stems from a poisoned oak pill. But we've yet to identify the maker. In the end, it's still the Mountain of Eternal Winter. The oak pill is just a means. For no matter how we died, through the origin flame we were still reborn whole.
Enveloped in the chill of the eternal winter, this cold-hearted wanderer was. On the final bridge of wills that guide us back to the surface, tearing apart the souls of our people she was. Feeding the flames of the void she did. Tossed to those depths, spare no scream those souls could. Melted away in the burning flames they did.
I do not understand. You think that we can help you... how?
Stop! Why are you all so bad at explaining? Let me explain what you need to do in your worldly terms. Extinguish the flame that's claimed the haven of slumbering origin, and remove the guardian that protects the flame itself. Do the same for the winter trees burnt to a crisp, and the winter spirits that attack with painful howling, for they are the main culprits of this deadly winter. Take this oak pill that murdered the Khan and unveil the truth. If you don't, then I have no choice but to believe until my last breath that those antlered ones carried out this devious act. It pains me to suspect a friend. I pray that you preserve our age-old friendship. Now, we've no time to waste. Having now parted the heavens, I shall use all of my power to transport you to the path to proving that the Abets and Ukjinchini are one.
Hey there. Yoo-hoo! Oh, you're awake, warrior of winter in training. You were snoring. Sleeping like a baby. Oh, I'm so jealous. Bet you can fall asleep anywhere, can't you?
This stone. What is it?
This is what we Abets and the Okjinshini have long sought to fulfill, a long-cherished wish of our peoples.
What kind of trial is it?
From the moment the Mountain of Eternal Winter embraced us, there existed the stone tablets, which we split and shared with the Okjinshini. These words were engraved upon those tablets. To find where your destiny lies, reach the end of the path of prophecy. Reaching its end shall break the tablet seal and unveil the first prophecy. Gather the prophecies of origin to complete the final prophecy. This monument was made by Abets who reached that path's end.
The proof that Abets and Okjinshini are one. I also recall seeing another stone tablet with constellations in the cave of the Okjinshini.
Yeah, that's just how they express themselves.
That was quite a mouthful you managed just now. Did our little seed sprout while we were away?
What? A sprout? Come on! Don't forget, I am still the Khan's successor. Anyway, at first I was so shocked I had a little panic attack. To think they would send 2 people through the Jade Starlight Forest path of prophecy. Does that mean that those Okjinshini wish to speak with us?
They were kind of preoccupied with their own troubles.
We can talk more about that later in the Grand Conference Hall, right? Welcome. This is Ailton, the hometown of us Abets. What? We can talk more about that later in the Grand Conference.
Welcome to Ailton. You have crossed through the Jade Starlight Forest path of prophecy, I assume?
Yes, it was also they who defeated the mysterious monstrosity that appeared at Bronte's bolt.
Are you the chief of Ailton? I have something to tell you.
It can't be. Wait. Lando, please leave us.
No. He needs to hear this. Both here and at the Snowstorm Guard Post. You treated him like a child. But a child still matures without consent.
Aren't those the oak pills we once shared with the Okjinshini? Please, explain to us why you have brought these before us. Wait a minute. They can't be seeking a truce. Not after all the trouble they've caused.
These oak pills have been poisoned.
Are they accusing us of poisoning them? We would never engage in such barbarism.
As it would happen, your Khan spoke much the same. And so, to prove the innocence of the Arbets, he voluntarily chose to take this oak pill himself.
What? Always so trusting, honest to a fault. Why? Why would he commit such a foolish act? It simply doesn't make sense.
The first dear Mara uttered these words: "Acknowledge when you are not adept in combat, but seek out friends to fight in your stead."
Of course, that's very wise. We should hire some mercenaries to protect us. Quickly now, let's put out the word to all corners of the continent.
The snowstorm guard post was in such disarray. This explains everything.
Be quiet, all of you! If my father were here, you think he would just hire more mercenaries? What we need to do is get to the root of all this chaos and confusion. Only then can we restore the Mountain of Eternal Winter. Not through mercs, with their lackluster money-grubbing ways, but with our own hands. The Fox Rule has not yet come to a close. That, my friends, is the way of the Khan whose seat still bears his warmth. That, my friends, is the way of life in the Highlands, and every single one of you needs to respect it.
Your father had no choice but to consume that oak pill. If he hadn't done so, even those Okjinshini yet to go mad would have laid waste to the village with hate-filled eyes. As a leader, it was a difficult but necessary decision for him to make.
Puto has taken the poisoned oak pill to the research lab. Why not take a breather and look around town while we wait for the results?
No. Is there a place that keeps records of visitors in this town? The Okjinshini originally suspected the Dear Abets. Even in a place like this, the enemy could be an outsider. No, under these circumstances, the enemy must be from the outside.
In that case, you can find the city highland border, home to the Fox Abets, right beside the central market. It is a place that oversees all who cross over from the highlands to the city, and vice versa.
Then I shall head there first. You should go make yourself useful and look around as well, yes?
The path that I must take is clear. I must find the true enemy that wrought this chaos and ascend the mountain.
Quite often, personal emotions are the main cause of one's failures. Outsiders call this place the Dragon Museum. Pleased to meet you. My name is Ulan, and I oversee this city of origin. Here, you can learn the tales of the ancestors who received the wisdom and blessing of the seventh witch born from Lebreska's first death. For my veins carry the blood of the one who brought this calamity upon the mountain of eternal winter. As a descendant of Silverfrond, I sought to atone for his past sins by renouncing the city and settling here in the Highlands. Even when the other descendants of Silverfrond responded to the Great Founder's call, abandoning their original settlements and gathering beneath the forbidden Black Mountain, we chose to remain here and guard this place in the Mountain of Eternal Winter as living witnesses to history. Oh, all of these relics were collected by us members of the Dragon Appreciation Society. Simply put, all of us here are what you might call dragon aficionados. There's countless dragon relics yet to be found, scattered all over the globe. Go on, take your time, and have a good long look around. If you found yourself here, all on your own, then maybe, someday, you may find yourself amongst our ranks as a member of the DAS. No? The dragon Lebreska, scourge of all dragonkind. She devoured the hearts of her kin, and thus reigned over the Golden Mountain. Long into her rule, and with all who would seek to challenge her slain, a flame appeared. Was this a trick of the gods, or a test? And so it was that Lebreska came to possess the god-consuming flame, Yenix. She used this flame to challenge the authority of those gods. But she underestimated them. They tore from her body all wing and all limb, and wrought eternal winter upon Golden Mountain, so its name and glory would be forever lost. It was in this pitiful state that Lebreska experienced her first death, laying herself to rest in the haven of slumbering origin. The flame nestled deep in her heart. But from Lebreska's first death, 7 beings awoke, who, in the village below the mount, came to be known as the 7 Witches of Everfrost. Bronte, Witch of Thunder, she who rends the dragon's wings. Cahel, Witch of Blight, she who rots the dragon's claws. Sethra, Witch of Rifts, she who splits the dragon's scales. Lesha, Witch of Fever, she who drains the dragon's energy. Marsh, Witch of Swamps, she who binds the dragon's ankles. Owena, Witch of Ruin, she who collapses the dragon's airways. And last but not least, Arethia, Witch of Erasia, she who expunges all fear of dragons. Lebreska, keeper of the Golden Mountain, even at the brink of death, bestowed upon us a gift. For from her death did these 7 witches arise, who used their mystical powers to protect us from the fearsome dragons. Many moons passed under their protection, but we knew the 7 witches would one day die and herald in an era of misfortune where we would have to fight the dragons ourselves. While its golden hue is now obfuscated by blanketed snow, may the sun reflecting off its frosty peak be an eternal reminder of Golden Mountain's glory. Sadly, that era of misfortune came sooner than expected, for fate is a cruel mistress, and she will not be denied. Erethia, the Witch of Erasia, fell in love with the human Silverfrond, and in doing so, neglected her sworn duty. The 6 witches recanted the wisdom and blessings they had bestowed upon Silverfrond, then slew Erethia with Libresca's fang. The once forgotten fear of dragons resurfaced, suffocating the humans who trembled in fear at this apparent curse wrought by the 6 witches. Play with the flames of love, and you will be burned. Grief-stricken and fearing for his life, Silverfrond made his way to Orzeka, seeking the god that grants all wishes. The god told Silverfrond that he must retrieve the Yenix, the holy flame still in the embrace of the dead golden dragon, if his wish is to be granted. So Silverfrond ascended the mountain of eternal winter, only to find Libresca alive, living her second life. There, he learned of the Yenix's true might, that it has the power to consume gods, and realized that he had been deceived by the wish-granting god. Can fate ever be denied? For just as he had with Erethia, when Silverfrond's eyes fell upon Libresca in that fateful encounter, he fell blindly in love with her. And Libresca, who clung to life just barely thanks to the Yenix, found comfort in the lonely human before her. And the mountain of eternal winter soon saw a warmer winter unfold. But then, the Knights of Dawn arrived, seeking to bring an end to the God of Wishes. They persuaded Silverfrond to carry the Yenix to him. I vow to return, for I know this flame is your life, promised Silverfrond to Libresca as he set off. The 6 witches had no choice but to allow Silverfrond to leave for Orzeka with the Yenix, for the golden dragon Libresca had granted it. But no sooner had he left, a deathly winter descended upon the mountain. It seemed that Libresca's second life had come with a price. For something dwelt inside her. Something that the Yenix had kept at bay. But with the Yenix gone, it now consumed her from within. It felt as though an eternity had passed, but still Silverfrond had not returned. In time, Libresca's eyes grew dim, and her memories faded like dreams. Eventually, the small sliver of hope she clung to evaporated, and with it a great calamity befell the mountain of eternal winter. There are no witches to protect us now, It is now up to us to defend ourselves against the dragons. Proclaimed the one now known as the Great Founder. I have many more a tale to tell, but the beauty of adventuring is finding them for yourself, no? Not to mention, there's someone waiting for you outside. Stop by again sometime. The City of Origin is always open.
There you are! We should set off for the city highland border as quick as possible. Our Dark Knight is being questioned as we speak. I even told Customs he was just some random adventurer, too. Who would have thought they'd be such a sharp bunch? It doesn't help that he straight up told them where he was from when they asked. Always acting all dark and dashing. I can't just stand around. Help me break him out and get to the Oak Pill Research Lab. Who would have thought they'd be such a sharp...
How long do you plan to stay?
All those wishing to stay here must first pass through me. I doubt there's anyone here who doesn't know me. Suspicious-looking individuals may not enter here. Know that
these are the talented blacksmiths from the Gavinia Great Crater who have taken on the Highland Bond and been invited to the Highlands.
while the day and time whence we were born may differ, here in this place may we exist as one body and mind together. Here, write down your city-worn name and take your hill-sworn. Next!
These are master fishers from Cranea who have taken the Highland Bond and been invited to the Highlands.
Any experience with ice fishing?
That wasn't part of our agreement, but, that won't be an issue.
Good! Of course it wouldn't be an issue. While the day and time whence we were born may differ, here in this place may we exist as one body and mind together. The citron orchard nearby is practically a Papu paradise.
Shush! Let's keep that to ourselves.
You're right. Next!
While grateful for your previous offer, we Aker must respectfully decline. We could never imagine existing alongside the Vidir.
I see. I suppose you need some more time to think about it, yes? Next! Ooh, are you the friend of this liar? I'll conduct a simple test of truth to see if you truly are friends.
So many meaningless steps to confirm the comings and goings of one man.
Silence! Don't you dare try to pull a fast one on me. We have no vacancy for liars like you in the Highlands. Especially with how low the public sentiment has become nowadays. Never thought I'd live to see the day where the Highlands would be overrun with suspicion. I thought the stories of poison oak pills were mere fiction, and yet it's been revealed that the oak pill research labs were robbed.
Are we getting fired?
Before I have to take responsibility and relinquish myself from this position, I shall uncover the truth behind this mysterious interloper. Now, a test that will surely uncover the truth. Any real adventurer could easily answer these questions. First question. Patrigio's leopard's name is Naru.
That's not even a question. True. Next.
Second question. The symbol of Calpheon is the eagle.
True, though it's certainly a weary old eagle.
Third. Serendia's Princess Jarette is infamous for her stubbornness.
If your rumor-mongering continues...
It appears you do speak the truth. Your identity is cleared, so I shall grant you access to the records.
Nothing seems out of place. This entry shows a Hillsworn name, Mahia. But why is the City-worn name blank?
Let me see. Ah, that one. Said they lost their memory. Looked a bit ill. Kept muttering some phrase over and over again, right?
Perfect being, perfect being, perfect being. They kept repeating that. That's why the captain took them to the Oak Pill Research Lab, to see if they could treat them.
Perfect being, eh? It wasn't their memory they lost. More like their free will.
So you're not an adventurer, but a detective by trade, hmm? My apologies for the mix-up. But tell me, why do you think so?
Their handwriting. It looks too erratic, like it was forced. I speak from experience.
Oh! Did you say perfect being? That's the mantra of the Sezek Barbarians. I may have overheard it while I was doing a bit of schmoozing over at Camp Balix. Ah! I know this is all super important, but let's go to the Oak Pill Research Lab first. They may have completed analyzing the pill's composition by now.
Shush!
I know this is...
It seems all toggled.
Humans came to despise Silverfrond, but we are ever in his debt. This is the place where he researched methods of transporting the Yenix. It required much wisdom to be imparted by Labreska herself. To make use of her wisdom, we created the Oak Pill. I can't believe it. The poison drawn from the fang of that monster at Snowstorm Guard Post, and the poison in the Oak Pill, are one and the same.
It was the devious actions of that monster? It didn't seem that intelligent. Our shaman Invish didn't mention seeing such a monster on the path of prophecy either.
Blind faith in prophetic paths is folly. For if all prophecies came to fruition, this world would already be in ruin.
Please report these findings to the shaman Invish. This is a new ordeal facing the Mountain of Eternal Winter.
I found the answers I sought deep in my dreams. Do you wish to do likewise? The witches smiled, but inside they were weeping. They who had thrown themselves in a pit of deep despair. Why and for what? I cannot see it. past the day the festivities should have been held. What was Arethia trying to tell us?
On the day the Khan entered the woods, the chief of the Oak Jinshini uttered something much the same, for that day was supposed to be a day of celebration. The day when the seal of the tablet left by the seventh witch was to be broken.
But the reason why the witch's tablet has remained sealed in separate parts until now is not because we have yet to reach the end of our path of prophecy. No, it's more like this was all part of the grand design from the start, in order to reveal a distant future that may occur.
But don't the stone tablets say that the closer we are to the end of the path of prophecy, the more the seal on the tablets will weaken?
That was probably so we would not forget about the future that she herself was so worried would unfold. That was probably so we would not forget about the future.
On that day, which was supposed to be a celebration for our Bets and Oak Jinshini alike, a mysterious explosion occurred at the Shere Khan iron mines. Maybe that explosion awakened the very thing the witch feared.
Do you suppose it had anything to do with that strange monster no one had ever seen or heard of?
During all the chaos that occurred on that day, there were some who took the opportunity to flee from that place.
I believe they'll be able to enlighten us more on what exactly happened on that day.
Oh, aren't you? Give me a moment. I will hide your dark presence. The marking on your skin, the shackles are bound to react.
Do you know what the ale in ale? Brew a tea with this herb, and it will brew a tea with this herb, and it will warm.
Yeah!
I barely...
At the outskirts of the Mountain of Eternal Winter lies a place called Pilgrim's End. These poor souls barely made it out of Odilita, only to be swindled upon reaching Pilgrim's End.
Wasn't even looking for a good place. Felt wherever there were humans, we could start anew.
That inhumane scum took us to the Shere Khan iron mines.
I don't remember this place being so overrun with scumbags. It's just like with that goblin. He was heading to the citron orchards from Awena's Tale, but was accidentally led to the charcoal burner.
In Calpheon, there's a saying, "Don't blink, or you might lose your nose." The upstanding citizens of Hydael could never imagine such a thing.
Anyway, I've got some meal tickets for some top-quality dishes. Would you be so kind as to hand them out?
These poor souls barely made it out of Odilita.
It was swarming with those Sezek barbarians. They seem to be pretty well organized.
Care to share exactly what happened on the day of the Shere Khan?
They made us pile something all day long. Never really told us what it was exactly.
But that's what exploded. I'll bet my life. All because the perfect being began to cry out.
What did you say just now? Perfect being?
There's a priest the Sezek barbarians call the perfect being.
A few of the Sezeks tried to challenge his authority, but got themselves executed by their Baal Salvaro. They said stuff like, "Perfect being, my crusty behind," and that Dayan, he's just a human runaway from Dregan.
Dayan? I remember seeing him when he was on the run in Dregan, a human winning the favor of all the Sezeks. It's unheard of, especially when it appears he joined them immediately after being cast out from Dregan.
Just as they mentioned in the Oak Pill research labs. Is there some unknown entity pulling the strings from the shadows?
That's enough. He may look all right on the outside, but he's suffering from internal wounds. Moreover, if we aren't able to break those shackles, it's only a matter of time before the Ahib come knocking.
I suggest they be moved as far away as possible, at least until their shackles are broken. This place is still far too close.
Please, you have to protect us. We shall flee to the ends of the earth if we have to. Anything but returning to that hellhole.
Hell is found all over. But once my business here in the Mountain of Eternal Winter is done, I shall help you find a place to settle. Stay strong for now.
Oh, sorry to interrupt, but I think we should grab some grub before heading out again.
Get a fresh pint of Ailton Ale with a splash of sweet goat's milk.
Once I came to, I realized I was not in Achman, but in History of Ruins.
I told you to seek out the alchemist Karashu at the Sandgrain Bazaar.
I have a more interesting tale to share with you. Say, don't suppose you know the true identity of Deboreka?
Somewhere people the world over can gather.
Greetings. If you've come to eat, I need to see your meal ticket.
Meal ticket?
Huh? What? The meal ticket? My meal ticket! My meal ticket! Sorry. I had so many tickets and there were so many hungry faces. I think I just got caught up and gave them all away.
Such a strong voice from such a small body. Your colleagues must be quite mad at you now. No meal ticket, huh? I can still offer you a chance to taste my cooking. That is, only if you play a match with me. A match of what, you ask? Recently, some adventurer crossed over from Balanos and taught me this game called Yar. Just one match, and if you win, I'll feed you myself. Otherwise, go purchase a meal ticket.
Hey! Anyone here know how to play Yar?
You know you've got to take a hill. Have you given any thought to the hill? Have you given any thought to the hill-sworn name you'll take?
Secret of my cooking. Just trust your instincts, it's almost done. So why not take a look? The folk here may all look ordinary, but over there, that person was once known as the best blacksmith in all of Keplen. And that one, the greatest farmer in all of Ilya Island. The Abets are quite skilled at recruiting the most talented folk from all over the continent.
I can smell the egotism wafting off of you like aromatics. But I'll admit, this food smells much better than I had anticipated.
Your nose is not wrong, for I am the cooking guru of Dregan. Here you go. This is my objectively delicious Ailton specialty meal.
It appears our journey together is almost at its end. We've already reached the trial of the Fifth Witch. I thought it'd be a quiet trek to retrieve the Yenix, but we've practically worn holes in our boots. The conflict between the Oak Jinshini and the Abets. It all began with a poisoned oak pill. We've suspected Dayan of being the mastermind, and yet, as the Oak Jinshini chief mentioned earlier, he lit only the spark. The sooner the Yenix resting in the haven of slumbering origin is extinguished, the quicker all this strange phenomena will end. If we succeed, I suppose you'll be hailed as a hero in these parts as well. Look at that fox, living only for today. I hope we can find his brother. It's been some time since I've seen a place so filled with human aroma. What will I do once I've erased the burden of this mark? Once this journey ends, I shall disappear to a corner of Balanos unbeknownst to all. Together with Jarrett, I wish to work the lands there. Some children, perhaps. 3 is a good number. 2 sons and a daughter. If the children take after their mother, it would be quite the lively household.
The Fifth Witch is Sethra, the Witch of Rifts. The eye that climbed out of Hell's depths hungers. Only the infinite life force of the Highlands.
Seek out Gonzarig in the Highlands, and if you need my aid, send word by his hawk.
You aided us at Bronte's boat, and now we are in your debt once more.
No. We are the ones indebted to the two of you, for the Zavir Highlands are the first home of the Abets, even though one of the totems has been destroyed, and all have been evacuated due to the dread winter trees taking root all over.
Dread winter trees have been sighted there as well? You should go on ahead. I need to have a word with Tabudai.
I'll go speak with my fleeing fox squad and let them know that even the Oak Jinshini are crying foul about this.
must not let a single day go by without an offering. The Zavir Highlands were abandoned by humans early on, so it was quite easy for us to settle down here. Gaining the wisdom of Sethra, the Witch of Rifts, did not come without its price. Let my veins spread like spiderwebs beneath the highlands, absorb the life force of the surface. Those humans offered as living sacrifices to the witch didn't last for long, and upon the witch's demise, the settlement was quickly abandoned by the humans. We made their former first settlement into one of our own, and up until quite recently, had maintained it as such. We did so for the sake of the hawk and leopard abets, who had gone beyond the mountain of eternal winter long ago during our time in the highlands. But this too was their home. As we tended the land, we often left out some meat they enjoyed. Though they would never again return, wild animals would frequent our settlement and eat to their heart's content. Seeing this gave us some small relief, knowing the hawk and leopard abets would have some sanctuary to return to. At least, before the leopard totem was destroyed. Sethra's vase would always give off such a pleasant fragrance. It absorbed the life energy of the creatures that gathered around each totem, a sign that the health of the highlands was in a good state. However, when the totem was destroyed, the abets guarding the remaining ones retreated, for none quite knew what threat the lurking danger posed.
The eye that climbed out of hell's depths hungers. Only the infinite life force of the highlands can satisfy it. Only by returning the creatures to the highlands can we overcome the witch's trial.
When I was young, there was a fierce typhoon that nearly blew away all the settlements in the highlands. Back then, I helped rebuild the highlands, alongside my father and brother.
But the highlands are a dangerous place now. You and Lando should work on restoring the settlements, while I keep an eye on the Dreadwinter tree rooted in the highlands.
I'll go check on the other settlements. Go check the Hawkabed settlement. It's the closest.
Until the day our kinfolk, the hawks and the black leopards, return, although not always claim.
It's in better condition than I thought. When I went to see the Foxabed settlement, it was in complete ruins. Now you've got to hunt. We need to attract hawks. Snowfield Illipikas or Snowfield Markors will do. Here, use this matchlock. Where did I get the matchlock? Get moving! If you keep making excuses to slack off, I'll tell our Sorendian drill instructor. Huh? What do you mean I'm just lazily ordering you around? Fox will fly in soon enough. About the matchlock? My secret? Endless pockets, baby! When I had no idea that my father was Khan, my dream was to be a jack of all trades. Just because it seemed cool to help people by carrying all kinds of things. But my little brother's dream was to become like Muhad. His dream was to climb up the mountain of eternal winter. He said that with his white fur, he'd be good at camouflage. It came out of nowhere, honestly. He only chuckled when I asked him what he was thinking. But he kept on pestering Father about climbing up the mountain. That's why I made him these mountaineer clothes. I thought feeling like one might be enough to keep him here. Oh, look over there! They're finally here! Whoa, they're really going to town. I feel full just looking at them. Next up is the home of the Dirabets. Gonzarig restored the whole place this morning. All we need to do is attract the herb. There's a tip that Father taught me. The winter flowers on their backs give off a very They used to only inhabit the mountain of eternal winter. You know, these things are worth asking while hunting. They say a blade dulls with use, but wow. Have I rubbed off on you? Look at me and my connections coming through again. The animals would be disappointed if we didn't have delicious fruit, right?
We are here from Moslin's Euless Citron Orchard to help restore the Zavir Highlands. I'm so very excited. I hope they really enjoy them.
I could kind of start understanding my little brother's behavior once I knew about the Path of Prophecy. The wise Invish told us that we all take different paths, but each of us are destined to reach the end of that path. I realize now that my little brother was always walking along his path, but I haven't even found where the path starts yet. The path my little brother took was surely not one to be taken by a Foxabats. Since we cannot climb the mountain, I think he disguised his desire with light-hearted jokes.
Oh, they're gathering! Wow! What are they? So many animals I've never seen before! We're leaving now! Lando, don't forget your promise to promote our citron orchard once you finish your journey!
So maybe I said something about offering to promote them. Sure, the world's all about give and take. By the way, where has our dark son disappeared to? He's not possibly taking a nap, is he? I'll go find him and teach him a lesson. You work on restoring the Foxabet settlement. Yeah. This might require a bit of, muscle power. That's why I gave you the almighty axe. Go fell things! Chopping trees is too tough for you. You could... look at it! Completely restored! If I was a lady fox, I'd be head over heels. It's magnificent! But as a representative of the Foxabettes, I will bow in respect as a sign of thanks. I think they're already here! Quick, over here! They look so hungry. Come on, don't be shy. This feels good, doesn't it? If they're brave enough to venture out, why is it so hard for me to just gather the courage to climb up the mountain? I lied to my little brother. I told him that Father had gone to prove that even we can climb the mountain. I couldn't bear to tell him that maybe the reason our father had been gone for so long was because he had passed from this world. No. Actually, if I'm being completely honest, I hated seeing him wake up each morning whining and crying. I thought that he'd give up if I told him that. But the next day, he was gone. He left only a letter stamped with his paw that said that he was going to climb the mountain. We can't climb it, though. We can cross the sea and travel the desert, but not that mountain.
You are still very chatty. You can traverse the sea, the desert, and that mountain is no different. Your fear comes from the fact that you haven't experienced it yourself. I'm not ignoring the traditions of your people, but the source of your fear comes from words passed down. That's all. It's ridiculous to say that one invites death by simply climbing a mountain. Have you seen any that prove those words to be true? If I were you, I'd test their veracity myself. If you've resolved to climb the mountain, then I will accompany you. In order to do that, we must complete the trial here. I saw the incense rising from 3 of Sethra's vases of living souls. But what should we do with the leopard up there at settlement? Something in ruin cannot be restored. Not to mention the Dreadwinter tree is deeply rooted there.
Then we're just borrowing the winter spirit's life force as we cleanse them of their pain.
Has the world gone mad? Will the sun now rise in the west? The fox is making sense. Well done. Now, let's go see the last vase of living souls.
Ah! What was that? Can someone explain to me what just happened?
There's that same foul smell that the monster at Bronte's bolt gave off.
Could it be that there's a path to their burrow underneath this Dreadwinter tree?
Let's go meet Ganzorig and send word by Hawk. We have to keep moving forward. Trying to fix a problem every time one rears its head is like trying to fill a bottomless pit. You must seek out the root of the problem. A leader who fails in this will bring only chaos.
All right, let's go meet Ganzorig.
Let us also see to Cetra's vase of living souls.
There, good bird. By Windknow's grace, please spread word. There is grave danger in the Highlands. Thank you. We welcome you as one of our own.
If I find kinship among the Highland people, will I find salvation from the mess that I'm in?
Look, all of the vases of living souls are breathing.
I can't believe we're already at the final trial. Huh? What do you mean, why did it take so long? The sixth witch is Kahel, the Witch of Distortion. A crown of colorful fingers bears the blood of the dragon, but no mouth to consume it. The mouth that can devour the darkest abyss was far too much for this world to bear, so it was locked away in a dark, deserted mountain to keep out of reach. The warrior of winter seeking to overcome the last witch's trial must find that mouth. If the mouth cannot be found, a void that the mouth cannot consume will overtake all.
Locked up in a dark, empty mountain so that none may approach.
It's probably referring to the Forbidden Black Mountains, the old name of the Sherakan iron mine.
Ganzorig, how do you know all that when you only stay within the Highlands?
Great wings can carry the hawk abets great distances. Powerful legs can propel the leopard abets great distances. And with this power, they can surmount the mountain of eternal winter. On the other hand, fox abets are skilled with their hands and are good at calculating. And deer abets are friendly and inviting, befriending all throughout the land. They can embrace every bit of the Highlands. The abets aren't the only ones who come to the Highlands. The connections I've made keep me well informed.
I didn't know fox abets were good at calculating. So, then as a fox, there's no way you forgot about Prince Bahan's request.
Oh, you're right! How do you remember these things that have nothing to do with you?
I anticipated you'd forget. Don't make me regret joining you, and get moving. I will find a way to get inside the den of the barbarians. Why don't you keep close to that fox so that he doesn't wander off?
Lando, as a representative of the abets, has to offer prayers of gratitude to the living souls before he leaves. Though the Khan is absent, it's still fox rule. Since you are the heir of the Khan, you represent the abets.
I will be done in a jiffy.
I'm building a tower.
If I'd sent him alone, I imagine it would have taken some... Then? Let's see. This is Gardaka's code. Wait, is this all? Was there nothing else? Some small piece of iron? I see. This is why Mother said my older brother doesn't have the key. In secrecy, she loved her twin, and that love bore children. The oldest among them.
Your Majesty!
Atui! What else was on my schedule for today?
You're scheduled to make a visit to Maslan's Eula's citron orchard.
The owner of the Euless orchard is your run-of-the-mill abbess. I'll surely draw the eyes of the Papus, who will no doubt spread word of my visit.
Your Majesty, it's a risk you must take. You must cover up your secret with some commotion.
Indeed. I've had quite enough.
Yes. This is Valerito's token of promise, from the first head of the Sezek. My ancestor, Muhad Balix, got it 100 years ago when rescuing the Sezek barbarians who all nearly froze to death when ascending the Mountain of Eternal Winter.
The barbarians. They were headed to the Sherikan iron mine, but took a wrong path and wound up at the Snowy Mountain instead.
That token was given to him as the promise of an unconditional invitation. Once Valerito ceased wandering and established a nation.
Huh. A nation for a barbarian. A man with lofty ambitions, I see. Anyway, no good could have come from our military authorities getting involved with the barbarians. It would have been a precarious situation to manage. Can you give this to that fox, the Khan's heir? He should use it wisely. A leader must keep his fingers on the pulse of the people, and as blood of the Khan runs through him, he will become a leader in his own right. Oh, I don't mean to equate the barbarians to Elton. It's a small gift merely given out of concern, since he still acts like a child. But I was a bit curious about something. Is a poro...
I'm building a tower up.
If I had known. If I had known.
Totally meant to meet up with you right away, but the sky got all dark like it was going to rain, and when I looked up, whoosh! Our emotional cactus was bareback on a baby black dragon, headed toward the abandoned iron mine. I have no idea why he's throwing himself right into the Barbarians' den. I took off after him as soon as I spotted him, but he was way too fast. No small feat against an ex-member of the fleeing Fox Squad.
Are you the one? Hello. I am Kaspara, the chief priestess at the Shrine of Silent Prayers. It's my fault. I was speaking of the history of these lands, as I usually do, to the people offering their prayers to lost souls. When a man asked why barbarians were gathered at the abandoned iron mine, I told him that they've long sought to claim the dragon's power.
You heard what the priestess said, right? Oh, Grumpy's not expecting to just rush in and be greeted by the barbarians with open arms, is he? Huh? What is this? Valerito's token of promise? Oh, how great it... Huh? Where is everyone?
Come, everyone! Look at this guy, full of gusto!
What the heck? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think this is the reaction we were hoping for from this guy.
This should be easy.
You. Where is Dayan, the one called a perfect being?
I have but one goal. To build a machine that... I'd have an easier time. It's gonna take some serious machinery. It's gonna take some serious machinery to quickly restore the toppled Barbarians Tower.
Oh, bets? If it's a fight you're after, I'll
I won't take anything offered by a...
Barbarians Tower?
What are you doing here? Get... Ha! What an entrance! A true showman! But there are only two types of people who come here. The brave-faced ones secretly quivering in their boots, and the ones covered in snot and tears, helpless to escape. Hey! How about we play the part of wealthy Kelpion nobles over a glass of plundered top-quality wine?
I won't take anything offered by a barbarian. Just answer my question.
What a man!
Is this a normal conversation? Can't tell if he's really enjoying himself or being sarcastic.
Okay. Dayan, that bastard. That little bastard deserves to be sold to the Ahibs and fed to the gargoyles. The first head, Valerito, came here to find Markthenon about 100 years ago, when the great battle between the Sherikans and dragons had come to an end. We promised him wings in return for the land of the Sherikans' descendants. He promised us reign over the land by burning Dregan. And just like that, For 100 years, we built the Barbarians Tower out of pure black stones here at this abandoned mine.
Barbarians Tower? Did you name it that because you're barbarians? Look, you should know, most people use the term barbarian as an insult. Are you trying to, like, take that word back? Make it cool again?
Shut your maw or I will shred it to pieces! That tower was the only source of power that could lift the curse put on Markthanon by the witch.
The witch's curse? Hell, it might have something to do with the mouth we're looking for.
Right. We have no idea what it's called, but it sure is a terrifying mouth. Bugs crawling all over the inside of it, like a creepy tunnel. The bugs that poured out from that mouth devoured Markthanon's body whole. But the pure black stones had the power to seal up that mouth. The taller the tower, the closer we were to liberation. We needed someone to keep record of this historic moment.
And that person was Dayan.
Yes, he came to us on his own, saying he respected Markthanon, although he had been kicked out of Dregan.
He must have appeared as providence for those of you seeking to shed yourself of the barbarian vestments. No wonder many flocked to him.
Dayan, that bastard up to no gooder. He blew up the Barbarians Tower that we toiled over for 100 years!
How come? It was an opportunity to awaken Markthanon again. Could it be because he wanted to become the hero of Dregan or something?
No. The Barbarians Tower is not something that can be blown up by a mere human. What do I care? He's long gone anyhow.
So basically we've reached a dead end. Dayan is gone. We have no means of getting a clue about the trial. Let's just go.
But there must be some hint about the trial buried somewhere around here.
This is where the tower of pure black stones exploded. Who knows what changes that might have brought.
What? You're leaving just like that? Hey there! How about something for my time? What? You're leaving just like that?
think that barbarian Alvaro is in the best of moods. Actually, they're all kind of looking at us like we're on tonight's menu.
They daren't give chase so long as my companion's beside us. Let us return to Duvenkroon. Back on the previous trials, we may find a clue within the records of the humans who once resided in the region. This is the land of the Shere Khans, ancestors of Driga.
How about heading to the Black Lake and wait, the people over there.
They bear the same shackles as the people from the inn in Ailton.
A nightmare did accost me that somehow.
When I was alone, I felt I won't abide anyone who curses our...
It's tough making even human. There's no chance you pass through. You should have
Come now, come now, come now.
When I grow up, when that day comes, everyone will heap praise and worship upon me.
You're from Ailton, right? Thank goodness. You've come to rescue us, right?
Yes. The village ruled by a wise white fox. Those who escaped first promised to come save us.
I'm truly sorry, but we're in the middle of the den of the barbarians. We never promised such a thing, nor did we come for that matter.
But you want us to just leave them here?
We can't save everyone. A leader understands that some sacrifices must be made for the sake of all, though your heart may be racked with pain and pity. You must not shed tears. There will come a time when you yourself will be the sacrifice.
I understand. Then please, I ask only one thing. I drew a map in secret so that I might flee this place.
A map that would take us through this mine while avoiding the eyes of the barbarians. But I was found out, and my map was taken from me before I could do anything. Please, just retrieve that map for me. We'll deal with the rest, please.
You just need to steal the key from their chief priest. Actually, these barbarians, their senses have been a bit dull ever since the day of the explosion.
All right, you get your mitts on that key. I noticed they like swaying to funky rhythms, so I'll teach them how it's done.
That sly fox.
They don't even budge a little when we whistle loudly.
Hmm.